Oh, it's live now. It's on my upper right-hand side. I see it. We're good. We're good. We're good.
Do a welcome or something.
Your basketball analyst. As you hear my co-host in the background talking. Tonight I'm very, very blessed to have two of my personal friends on. Very special guests. Big-time NBA fans who watching the NBA for decades. One is my friend Greg. Greg, just introduce yourself. Just say what's happening.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Senior Basketball Analyst Podcast, video show, whatever Daryl is going to call it. I'm Greg. We've been friends for a long time. I think we've had at least 15 years of running basketball debate. A lot of the time we're close to the same position. A lot of times we get into some pretty entertaining arguments that hopefully everybody is going to enjoy. So I think that's why we're here. So hopefully you'll enjoy the ride.
Thanks a lot, man. This is one of my friends, Jermaine. Jermaine, introduce yourself, man.
What's up, guys? I'm Jermaine. Been friends with these two guys for the last 15 years or so?
It's almost 20. It's 18 years.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You know, it started with the video games, and then, we're all avid NBA fans, so a lot of our relationship is based on that. Usually when the season's over, we don't talk as much. That just is always like a couple of weeks after the season's over. It's like, oh, shit. Yeah, those guys. I should go see what's going on with those guys. But, yeah, this whole thing is a awesome little situation that we're trying to set up. And I think we're going to have a very entertaining sort of analysis going on, and we've all got pretty good perspectives, even though Greg said they agree on a lot of stuff. But I feel like we all have our things that we contribute, which is very valuable for something like this. And we're not getting paid by ESPN or NBA, so we can kind of say stuff.
It's gonna be the truth. It's gonna all be true.
There's gonna be way too many truths going on, so we may get banned, but at least we can say we did it for a little while, David Stern's gonna be rolling around this grave, dude. It's gonna be terrible. We can tell it like it is because there's a lot of changes, and I think since AI retired, I think that's when it really started turning the corner. Like, I think it's been a long time, but different climate, man. Different climate, and we're the ones that gotta adjust to it, and can't look back on the '80s and the '90s. That was kind of like, just different sort of eras now. The game is much faster, even though they're not scoring as much. It's still a much faster game, and that's why there's all these injuries. People feel like they gotta work out a lot and all this other shit, and you just take the good with the bad. I mean, I'm not going to start watching cricket or some shit like that, so I got to stick with the game.
Since you went on to that topic, let me ask you that. Because to me, with the NBA, obviously the rule changes have been directed toward trying an attempt to make it a higher scoring game. But what can we say about an NBA that many teams don't even have a single defense first player on their roster, and yet the scores are down? It's not like scoring in the 2010s or even the 2000s is higher than scoring, let's say, in the 80s. The scoring's not higher. The game is a lot less. I wouldn't even say physically demanding. It's less brutal. Like, the game used to be brutal, and it's not at all if the scoring's down. So I mean, what do you think about that?
I just think the league, team-wise and player-wise, has become very top-heavy. So the quality of players on your roster is much worse than I think it was before. Like, before you had people who, like, your starting fives for most teams, they all brought something different to the table. Right now, you've got a bunch of, like, sort of empty spaces. Like, there's people out there that aren't bringing anything to the table, and I think that really matters. And you think, look at all this isolation basketball.
Man, I got to go. Because you know what? I'm not going to have you sit here and go on a tirade about Matthew Dellavedova or Papa Christian. I'm not going to have you insult these uh, fine examples of basketball excellence. Y'all have skill sets that include sometimes hitting wide open jump shots and falling in front of people as they score. Okay? And I'm not going to have you insult them. In fact, you know what? You're banned. You're banned.
Are you gonna mute me?
Pass the mic, so I can talk about
Are
what's
you gonna
really
mute me like on that? What show is that? The round table. What's this show is that? Where you around
like
the
a
horn, muted behind that.
Garbage with Stat Boy. What's it called?
I think it's a horn or something, right?
I don't think we can say this out loud. I don't think we can say this out loud. We can't be like plugging other shows on this show. So,
I'll plug other shows.
Oh yeah, you're right, Greg. You're right, Greg.
You know, on some entertainment network that happens to sometimes have sports, but really is about talk drama. Yeah, that show, that channel has a show that kind of works like this. Yes.
You know what? I think you do bring up a really good point, though. Even though I said that, there's always bad players. Like,
here's the thing. I think what's really happened, and Daryl kind of hinted at it when he talked about kind of the physicality that is missing in today's NBA, right? The kind of the toughness, the grit, the battle in the trenches. And that's because the game has turned into ISO basketball, screen and rolls only, and everybody plays on the perimeter. Stretch fours are in vogue for some reason. That's like a thing now. Whereas before, it was kind of like a thing to rebound and defend and guard the paint, and then play in the paint, play through the paint, inside out basketball.
How does that translate to more or less points, though? I mean, I understand the difference between the two, but how does that necessarily equate to less scoring in today's NBA? Because if you're shooting more perimeter jump shots, I mean, it will.
I don't think it's about less scoring, but three-pointers are through the roof. We're shooting and hitting far more threes now than we ever were at any point in the past. So there's kind of a half-point, 33% premium on scoring these days when you consider the volume of shots. We just saw Steph Curry broke the record last year, and then he broke it again this year. I mean, that's just happening all over the place now. And because of the rules, because of the way the game is played, because they moved the three-point line closer a couple years ago, all types of guys are hitting threes that shouldn't be hitting threes. And then no one's rotating.
The line is moved back. That's the original line again. The line was moved back and then, or moved in, then it was moved back.
Yeah, it's back again. It's back again.
You're right. You're right about that. You're right about that.
But I still just don't. To me, I really can't answer because I think the game is much faster. I think there's more athletes out there. Like you look at your Russell Westbrooks and your Derrick Roses, all these guys with lightning speed. The game does go up and down much faster, but I don't know why the scoring is down because it's.
Is it down? I don't think it's down.
Faster. There's fewer possessions.
Oh, it's down. It's down. They scored more back in the day.
So that's what I'm saying. It's not faster. It's definitely not faster.
Well, I can't explain it then because, I mean, you see all of these injuries to key players. I mean, I guess that doesn't help either. I mean, you look at these guys who get injured, like whether it's a fake injury or not, Carmelo Anthony, Brooke Lopez, all these kind of guys that bring a lot of points to the table get injured quite often. And I don't know if there's just more injuries to key players, and maybe that has to do with scoring.
But I don't think the scoring is the issue with the league, though. Is that the premise that we're working from? Is that scoring's down, therefore basketball is worse than it used to be?
No. I think they were just talking about how scoring is down, and we were just talking about the quality of basketball. I guess it's just like the overall quality of basketball. And when I watch games, like this has been one of the worst years that I've seen, just because the coaching is bad. I mean, you look at these offenses; they're not very fluid, and there's a lot of isolation basketball. You got a lot of guys out there taking shots. I'm a Josh Smith fan. I think he's a good player, but the first quarter of this game tonight, he took like 10 shots or some stupid stuff like that. Like in the
He took
first game, they were all terrible shots.
a lot of like, I'm on the block by myself. I'm not passing it back out, and I'm gonna force up a fadeaway against Draymond Green kind of shots. He took a lot
He's
of those.
obviously like one of the worst offenders, but when I watch these games, I just feel like outside of your James Harden, your LeBron, your Steph Curry, um, you just really don't see fluid basketball. You just don't.
See, now I'm going to disagree with you a little bit there because, and I'm not really a fan of this era of basketball. So let's be clear about that. But I would say, and we were kind of offline having the text conversation about how Houston really isn't deep and they only got 6 guys who can really play ball and all of that. But I mean, I'm looking at Terrence Jones, who played a fantastic game. I'm looking at Trevor Ariza, who has a serious workload on his hands defending all of the perimeter guys because Harden's taking defense off this series again, I guess. So even though his offense has been outstanding, right? But I think Houston's got some depth. I think they've got some guys to go to.
They're one of the more deeper teams, in my opinion. I mean,
like, Josh Smith is fine for me if he's your 6th man. I don't need him to be like a primary option in my offense. But he made a bunch of plays on defense where he was chasing down fast breaks and disrupting plays. Yeah. You know, him and Corey Brewer, right? They do that all the time. So I like Houston's depth. And if, but for the fact that they lost the best defensive point guard in the league probably, certainly one of the top 3, right? Then this would be a very different series. And they would probably be the odds-on favorites for the title.
Is it ownership? Is it front office? Is it this idea of making money and trying to generate revenue over actually building teams that can actually be relevant and can compete for a title and kind of taking your time with draft picks, or kind of like how the Thunder did, even though they had a bad coach in Scott Brooks, but you never really see teams kind of like organically get like built, and they just find this sort of cohesion, and then they become title contenders. Like it's like this era of like it was super teams, which is what they tried to do with Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving and LeBron. Apparently, they don't need Kyrie Irving or Kevin Love. Nobody would ever guess that.
That's because Kevin Love isn't very good.
You say who?
That's because Kevin Love isn't very good.
One of these days, we're going to have to resurrect the argument about Oakley versus Love on the boards.
I don't know about.
You know what? You're smoking crack. Dude,
what did he say?
Would ball Kevin Love up and throw him.
What did he say? Who would?
Charles Oakley.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Yeah, that's.
Here's one thing we're not going to do on this show. We are not going to disparage the basketball heroes of the 90s with some new clown. Kevin Love, if Kevin Love was so bad and so tough and so mean, he'd be playing right now. Okay? He'd be playing. Because the fact of the matter is, he has an opportunity at a ring. And instead of going to get in the ring, he's just not playing. Now, I know Kelly Olynyk tried to tear his arm out, which, again, why is Kelly Olynyk in there? I have no idea. He can't play basketball.
Good hair.
But even still, Kevin Love should be playing. He should have that stupid, that sleeve they wear under the jersey, that half shirt thing. You should throw it on, wrap a band on it, and go play. Like, you got a chance for the title. Go play. Greg, you shaking your head. Why do you love Kevin Love so much? Why?
Don't try to strongman me on the first show, dude. Like I'm gonna be saddled with Kevin Love's whole career path. The rest of the time we're on air.
To be fair,
put the camera on somebody else, dude.
I think I put on Jermaine.
To be fair about Kevin Love, he's I think his usage is a byproduct of what's going on right now in the league. Just like with Dwight Howard in Houston, they put that dude on the block. I mean, he's not a great post player, but they used him. He wasn't on the perimeter in Minnesota, even though he would hit threes but he was close to the boards. He was close to the basket in Minnesota, whereas they use him like they use Chris Bosh in Miami. Like he's just a guy that's he's just out there on the wing. He's just out there at the arc. He's not rebounding as much as he used to. I mean, he's not being used right. But
No,
if you're a great player like him, if
in a
you're,
lot of ways,
you're a great player, huh?
in a lot of ways, I was just being hard on him just for laughs. In all seriousness, you're right, because one problem that Kevin Love has is that he's saddled with LeBron taking up a lot of his space. LeBron operates out of the high post a lot, and then if LeBron isn't operating out of the high post, he's driving through Kevin Love's area to get to the paint. So
Right.
Kevin Love has a lot of problems in that regard, and I really, in LeBron's career, you haven't really seen a lot of power forward production from anybody playing power forward.
Or center production, for that matter.
Well, here's the question. Here's the question, right? Like, I mean, is LeBron James hard to play with? Because I don't know that you can point to anybody who's ever been his teammate, except for Wade that 1 year, that first year, where anybody has been able to maintain their production, for very long while playing with him. Eventually, the universe just kind of collapses around LeBron, and everybody else is just kind of a constellation floating around.
Part of the problem with that is poor offensive coaching.
Yes, true. We've not seen a good coach with him yet, to be honest. So you're right.
How do you coach LeBron though? How do you?
The same way you coach Elgin Baylor. It ain't like we haven't ever seen. We've seen threes pile up 30-point seasons.
Yeah, I know.
We've seen Dominique Wilkins do the same way you coach anybody else, man.
Yeah.
LeBron is still a basketball player. He's better than everybody else, but he's still a basketball player just like anybody else. I could put LeBron in the same, Scottie Pippen, what is that, like circa 95 or whatever. Scottie Pippen averaged 25, 8, and 7 or whatever it was without Jordan.
Yeah.
I can put people in an offense and still people produce. LeBron, unfortunately, always had clownish coaching. He really has. Mike Brown was the best coach he's ever played with. It's Mike Brown, unfortunately. Spoelstra was lucky in that he had 2 first ballot Hall of Famers to go with LeBron, so they were able to win in spite of him. But it's difficult for LeBron. But let's go since we're talking about right now. I would steer this into the reason the NBA is to me hurting so bad is lack of players. And I don't mean lack of players in the world that can play basketball. I mean lack of players in the NBA. Because I'm looking at an Eastern Conference Finals team in Cleveland who had one guy off the bench score a single basket. One player. That was J.R. Smith. He had all 28 of their bench. I'm looking at a team in Atlanta who has starters that can't score, who has bench guys. But Kent Bazemore had half of their points, and that was only because DeMar Carroll got hurt. I mean, these teams are in the Eastern Conference Finals, and basically that bum Antich didn't do anything. I mean, they have dudes in rotation. What's the kid's name? Muscala or something? I don't even know half of these dudes.
Yeah, I don't know where he came from. I don't know.
Like, who is that? Remember Mike Scott? What happened to Mike Scott? Mike Scott.
He balled last year.
That's what I was going to ask about. Like, I was going to bring that up because he should have been in the running for like 6th man of the year. He's that caliber of guy. Totally gone right now.
Wait, is he on their roster? I got to look him up right now.
I hadn't heard that he was injured.
Oh yeah, he says he's out in favor of this Muscala guy.
That's crazy.
And did that dude?
That's really weird.
Muscala score? Did Muscala score yesterday?
He hit I think he hit like a He may have to get a putback or a dunk or something. He may have like 2 points. I don't know.
But that having been said, again, I think Atlanta's depth, barring the injuries, and obviously Thabo's out for non-basketball related injuries, but you get past Thabo.
The NYPD broke his ankle. That's what happened.
Let's not get off.
No. We don't have details. We don't have enough details to say that definitively. I'm sorry. We don't have.
Yeah, there's no
Except
detail.
for the video footage of his ankle breaking.
No. The commentators told me yesterday that there's not enough information.
It's all speculation at this point.
Very murky. Very murky.
Very murky. Bro, don't go on a tangent. Nope.
That's a prime example of
Don't do it.
the media. No, I'm not going to go off on a tangent about police overuse of police force and things like that. I'm talking about the gutless of basketball media while you're watching a game. Why are they not telling you what happened? Just tell me what happened. Say what happened.
Yeah.
NYPD broke the man's ankle. That's what happened. That's what happened.
That's fair. That's fair. All right, look, but my point was not to really draw that out, really. Honestly, though, I think when you look at their depth, if you've got Mike Scott, you've got Schroeder, you've got Bazemore, you've got an okay. That's three guys into your bench, and you can call, maybe Thabo is the starter and Kyle Korver comes off the bench, as has been his correct before he was deemed an all-star this year. But, I think they've got adequate depth. I think they've got an appropriate roster. They've got the right pieces. They got the right guys in the right position. DeMarre Carroll's very solid at the three. Teague is an all-star. Horford's, Millsap, all-stars. I think they've built the right type of roster. I think they're running into the LeBron problem, and that's it. If you don't have three guys on the wing who can play defense such that someone is always playing lockdown D on him, he can beat you by himself.
Well, I would.
It's not LeBron who's the problem.
Here's the box score. Mike Muscala had 2 points. Pero Antic had 0 points. Elton Brand must have had a cup of coffee on the court and had a point. Elton Brand scored 0 points.
Elton Brand still in the league is amazing, by the way. Just FYI, just as an aside.
You know why? You know why he can still be in the NBA even though he only has one leg? You know why he can still be in the NBA?
The NBA is bad now?
The NBA is garbage. Exactly. The NBA is garbage. Like, if I'm looking at a team and they don't have any power forwards, you looking at teams that don't have any power forwards. How many power forwards are on the Cavs roster? How many power forwards?
I don't think any, unless Tristan Thompson, maybe, right?
They have one. They have one. Tristan Thompson. That's it. There aren't any more.
Well, I mean, besides Love, who's hurt.
True.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, this is my point. Injuries have always happened. There were always those basketball players in the court. I didn't have to watch Pablo Prigioni run away from Steph Curry 4 different times. He ran away from Steph Curry 4 times. 4 different three-pointers. To the best. Not only is he the best shooter, the best shooter in the game today, he's also on television in commercials shooting all day long. It's not like this is some kind of, man, it snuck up on me. Steph Curry hit a bunch of threes. Pablo Prigioni's nowhere near him. He's nowhere near him.
He's MVP, so yeah.
Yeah.
And this dude's in rotation. Man. This isn't some dude that would play 5 minutes. He's in rotation.
Oldest rookie in NBA history, dude.
The babyface killer.
You gotta recognize the prowess, dude. 35 years old.
Oh, this is like, and you know what? As I peruse this box score further, just for the heck of it, for laughs, I was like, man, you know who was really bad? Like when Dellavedova, Matthew Dellavedova, 0-6 from the field, 0-4 from the arc, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal, a turnover, 0.
Three fouls.
Oh, that's nice.
He reserved his best game for the Bulls, and I think he's.
And this is my point, though. Why is that dude in an NBA jersey? Like, what is he doing in NBA basketball?
I don't know. You can't play.
He literally looks like this sometimes. He does this. He'd be like.
He can't play dead.
Can't play dead.
Dude, you gotta switch the presenter, man.
He's got a motor.
I think you gotta switch the presenter and the
presenter?
Yeah, I think you gotta switch it in the dialogue, dude.
I am switching it. It's you right now, right?
Yeah, but I think it's like been me for like the past 20 minutes.
No, it wasn't you. Like, watch, I'm gonna switch it to me. See?
Okay. All right.
This is great for, Jonathan's going to love trying to edit this.
Yeah,
I did this just so Jonathan can have a nice little commercial break, right, to insert here.
And Jonathan, dude, let me tell you something, Jonathan. If you play us in or out with some drink or some other dude, I will fire you.
You're not getting any rock him or something like that. You better write down.
Yeah, you're not gonna get like any real hip hop or anything. That's
right.